speaker, Dr. Shrinidhi S. Pyati. He is actually a Madhva traditional scholar, but interestingly, he is taking up the contemporary topic of how in contemporary Indology there is a misrepresentation of the concept of good and evil in the traditional sources. It is very rare that a scholar who is traditionally trained is aware that these things are happening and is taking them seriously and is countering them with the awareness of contemporary Indological literature. Thank you very much, Acharya, for coming here. Please go ahead.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sumukhau Sundarataro Sunaso Sukachittano Suraradhita Padabjo Rama Narayanostumaha. Tapaswadhyaya Shushusha Krishna Puja Ratam Munim Vishvesham Ishtadam Vande Parivrat Chakravartinam. Tapaswadhyaya Shushusha Krishna Puja Ratam Munim Vishvesham Ishtadam Vande Parivrat Chakravartinam. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Namaste to all. Today is Ekadashi, so we normally observe that in Ekadashi we have to observe some Jnana Karya. So Indica gave us the platform to participate in the Jnana Karya. For that, I first congratulate Indica and the Nagaraj Paturiji for arranging these kind of events where we can share our thoughts on contemporary issues. First of all, I will start by my title itself, The Critique of American Indologists, Subversion of the Concept of Good and Evil in Bharatiya Kavyas. First, I like to take this subject in Shastric methodology, as Paturiji emphasized that we have to explain to general audience how we in Shastra or the knowledge exploration that would give us some kind of idea to the general audience. So what is the Shastric methodology? There are four steps in the Shastra. Any Shastra, if you take, there are 4 steps, which is Uddesha, Lakshana, Vibhaga, and Pariksha. So if you want to analyze something, first we have to get the name of the thing which we want to analyze. So that is called as Uddesha. So in the title itself, there are some words which you can understand, but the one word which is a little bit academic is Indology. So it is actually named by people who study India. So it is name is Uddesha is Indology. So this is naming. This is called as Uddesha. Now Lakshana. Lakshana means we have to now explain the characteristics of the Indology. So what is the Lakshana? So as far we know, Indology is the academic study of Indian history, culture, language, literature, religious, philosophy, and social structures. So many of you are not from the academic background, and somehow this Indology word is not very familiar with those people who are not with the background of academia. That's why I will explain what is Indology first in the context of explaining the characteristics of Indology. So this Indology is study of India itself. Whatever belongs to India, if it is studied, then it is called as Indology. Especially history, culture, language, literature, every aspects. And it studies with the lens of ancient texts such as Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, as well as regional languages, literature is like Prakrit literature, maybe Tamil, Pali, Sanskrit, every literature, language, they will study all these things. The overall study of India will be considered as the Indology. So this is lakshana, characteristics. And third is vibhaga. Vibhaga means divisions. So are there any divisions in the Indological studies? Yes, there are. So Indology literally means the study of India. The study of India happened from many centuries, but structural study can be divided into four categories. So one is, as we all know, colonial studies. This word colony is also very unfamiliar for some who is not from the academic background. Colony means the British started, moving around the world, and wherever they established their governance, they considered it as their colony. So they started studying the colonies. So that is considered as a colonial study. So basically, it can be considered as a European-centric study of India. So colonial study of India started roughly from the 18th century, where many scholars from German and British started studying India, majorly for the purpose of administration, for the purpose of governance, and for some aspects, some people, some from the evangelical backgrounds who wanted to, try to convert Hindus to the Christian, they also studied deeply. And these all aspects, conversion, governance, and some interest, these all can be considered as the motivation to study India, and it is considered as a colonial studies. And after that, after India got freedom, America became very powerful, and it wanted to study all over the all the world. So to study directly, they have not started studying India, because it is the project of studying the whole world. So in that, they divided that this South Asian study, first Asian studies, then South Asian studies. In South Asian studies, there is one department, maybe it's Indian studies. So that can be considered as a post-colonial study. Okay, it is named as a post-colonial study, where American university scholars studied India through their lens. For say, famously, Robert Goldman is there, Sheldon Pollock is there. And third one is, it is basically Indian scholars with the Marxist lens studied India. That can be considered as a left-dominated Indological study, where people from India, or basically from India, started studying India with the Marxist lens, with the influence of Marx, ideology of communism. With that lens, they started studying Indian history, Indian culture, religion, arts, everything. So that can be considered as a left-dominated Indological study. And there are prominent scholars from this area, are Romela Thapar, Irfan Habib, etc. And the fourth one is Indological study with the background of tradition and nationalistic views. So basically, whatever Gurukula system or any other scholar, non-Gurukula scholar, who studies the India with the nationalistic or realistic viewpoint, that can be considered as another division. That could be named as a traditional and nationalistic Indological study, where we find many Shastrik scholars and many historians from this school who started writing books and propagating their own aspects. So this is called as Vibhaga. So Uddesha, Lakshana, and now we got Vibhaga. So after that, we have to do the Pariksha. So Pariksha means whether this characteristics, whatever we call the study of India, whatever we have described as the characteristics, can it be applied to its object. For example, if we say the characteristics of earth as which has fragrance, it means that whatever is called as earth should be having this element of fragranceness. So then the characterization will be perfect. Then this Pariksha will be successful. So now we have characterized this Indological study or Indology as a study of India, study of culture. Now we have to examine it. We have to do the pariksha. Without pariksha, how can we accept that it is Indological study? So for that, we have to look into the in the books who have already studied this, and they have propagated their aspect with the books, academic books, speeches, and somehow some articles. So it's a very big game. Now I will concentrate on two authors to explain you what are the lenses of American Indologists. So this is also very very important, that even colonial studies, they have their own, they had their own bias. Post-colonial studies also, they had their own bias. But post-colonial decredit colonial studies, saying that they had their bias, and they claim that we are the one who actually study India correctly. So now it's our duty to take on American Indologists to whether examine that they have performed their duty perfectly or not. So it's now our Shastric scholars' duty. That's why this platform is giving us such an opportunity to analyze those books. So it's a tough task, but we have to do. So now I will take an example how they analyzed our Itihasa, Purana with their own lens. First, I will take an example of Wendy Doniger. Wendy Doniger, from whoever is from academic background, they very well know that about this scholar, Wendy Doniger. Wendy Doniger is an American Indologist whose professional career has spanned 5 decades. She is professor of history of religions at University of Chicago. She has their thought since 1978. So she has many books. I will take 2 major books which actually analyze the Ramayana. The one, the Hindus, an alternative history, and second one is on Hinduism. In these two books, she analyzes the Ramayana. So now we will do the pariksha. So pariksha has some. We have to create some kind of barrier to examine the characteristics. So we have to actually pick up the anecdotes and explain why these are not correct. For example, I will now broadly explain her analysis in 2 categories. So one is her examination is inspired by the Marxist or evangelist lens. With that background, what the author does is that she cherry picks and destroy the whatever Valmiki wanted to convey through his Kavya. She actually mistranslate or destroys the original aspects of Ramayana. Okay, now we will look into examples. These are the 2 major aspects which I will examine the author's books or her narratives. So this is pariksha. So pariksha includes one in the pariksha we have to first understand the Purva Paksha thoroughly. Then we have to refute those Purva Paksha with some methodology by giving some facts, some proofs. Now, what is the Purva Paksha? As I explained, these post-colonial authors majorly depend on the Marxist theories to explain the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Indian culture. So now let us take an example of how these authors tries to mistranslate original aspects of Ramayana. this is the example where I took from the work by name the Hindus, the alternative history or on Hinduism. So her argument is that when Rama is in Vanavasa, is in exile, when he encounters Sugriva, he prefers to help Sugriva rather than Vali. Now, the author says that Rama chose a wrong monkey to support. And actually, Rama could have or should have supported Vali instead of Sugriva. Because if Rama works according to the justice, then he should prefer to help Vali, not Sugriva. But Rama chose to help Sugriva. It means that Rama is not trying to maintain the justice here, rather than he chooses Sugriva because he believes that his condition and Sugriva's condition are similar. Because of similarities in their life's conditions, Rama is now helping Sugriva. So now the author has questioned the character of Rama itself. So Rama is now not considered as one who upholds the justice. He will support whoever whose life is similar to his life's conditions. So it's like some kind of profit exchange program for Rama. So this argument she explains in her books, where she says, Rama chose wrong monkey to defend. Why does Rama kill Valin at all? Apparently, because he senses a parallel between his situation and that of Sugriva, and therefore sides with Sugriva against Valin. But Rama sides with the wrong monkey. The allegedly aspiring monkey, Valin, is like Rama, the older half-brother, the true heir, the deposed king. Sugriva, the younger brother, originally took the throne from the aspiring brother, and Valin just took it back. Valin, not Sugriva, is the legal parallel to Rama. Yet Rama sympathizes with Sugriva because of each of them has lost his wife and has brother occupying throne that was his. So now, whenever we do the Ramakatha, we always project Rama as someone who holds the justice, even though whatever conditions he may be suffering in his life, he will always hold the justice. And we try to project Rama. And whenever we read the Ramayana, we also feel like that. But here, she accuses Rama of not upholding the justice, rather than making a profit deal with Sugriva. So we have to analyze this. This is one Purapaksha. And another Purapaksha, and we have to observe that the authors from the post-colonial studies, they will not make vague statements. They will quote the original source, and then they will make their statements. For that, we have to be very careful without being too much emotional. We have to negate their arguments with solid proofs. We cannot say that they have not studied the Valmiki Ramayana, all those things, or how can they understand we are the original repositories of the Ramayana. All these arguments are emotionally backed, but we have to be very much careful while analyzing the Purapaksha. We have to be more non-emotional and rational. This is what our Shastra teaches us. So here, second Purapaksha, she says, Hanuman says to Rama, speaking of Sugriva, he is exiled from his kingdom and is hated by his brother Valin. Sugriva is hated by his brother Valin, who has stolen his wife and left abandoned in the forest. She says, now this is not actually true. So she says, Hanuman is whatever Hanuman is explaining about Sugriva is not true. Because the first point is pretty true. He is exiled. But the second is not. Valin doesn't hate Sugriva. She says, author says, Valin doesn't hate Sugriva. Rather than Sugriva hates Valin. And the third is exactly true either. It's not exactly true either. Sugriva carried off Valin's consort first, and when Valin retaliated, Sugriva fled out of guilt and terror. So now you can understand that they are making a subversion of good and bad here. Originally, what we observe is that Sugriva is a member who is being harassed by Valin. But now she says Sugriva is the one person who actually harassed Vali, and Vali actually doesn't hate Sugriva, but Sugriva himself hates Vali. That's why the good one in this battle is Vali, not Sugriva. According to the justice, Rama should have backed Vali, but he backed Sugriva because of his own profit. So this is the Purapaksha. So now let's examine the claims of author. Now the first point is that she says that Sugriva, Rama helped Sugriva because of his own reasons. This is very much wrong, because Rama always took the path of justice and he supported whatever is justice. He never supported the injustice. So how you now in this example, why he supported the Sugriva? Is it good one? Is it bad one? We have to examine that. First of all, we have to observe that Vali is not a Vali is not a person who has many qualities in him. You cannot consider him as a person who has great qualities with him. Why? I will explain that. First of all, the Sugriva was never interested in the throne, as claimed by author that Sugriva was interested in the throne, and he actually deported the Vali, or then Vali came and he took the throne for himself. So actually that was not the case. What happened? If you keenly observe the Ramayana, what happened is this Vali had an enmity with Mayavi, the son of Dundubi, because of his interest in some woman. So there was a dispute between Mayavi and Vali, with the matter of some lady. Tasya strikritam vairam shruyate pura. That's how Valmiki Ramayana quotes. So there was some problem regarding the lady, woman, with the son of Dundubi, who is Mayavi. That's why they had their anonymity. That's why Vali went to fight with the Dundubi. Actually, Vali haven't told to Sugriva that he should come with him, but because he had very much love for his brother, he went with him. And when he went, he found that the demon is in the cave. So Vali ordered that Sugriva, you must stay here in front of this cave. Anyhow, whatever happens, if something bad happens, what you do is, you, for the sake of our kingdom, you take a big some big items with you, with big items, and close the door. He orders Sugriva, and he goes to cave to fight with the demon. And after many years, it not 1 day or 2 days, he waited for his brother. After many years, what happens? He hears some sound, and after that, the blood flows from the cave like a foam. So now Sugriva is in dilemma. Whether should I wait or should I go for the sake of kingdom? So he decides that anyhow, the kingdom is more important. People in the kingdom, if I don't go, if this demon comes, we will lose our kingdom. Then he decides that I will put some heavy element in front of the cave and I will go. So he does like that. And here Sugriva has no, he has no intentions of claiming the throne, because you have to observe that when Wali was king. Initially, when Wali was king, the Wali offers the Yuvaraja Padavi to Sugriva. But Sugriva rejects that. He says that Rajyam Prashashatastasya Pitrpaitamaham Mahat Aham Sarveshu Kaleshu Pranataha Preshavat Sitaha. He says, I served him obediently like a servant while he ruled over the great ancestral kingdom inherited by him. So even he doesn't want to have the throne as a subordinate also, as a Yuvaraja also. So why he will claim the throne? So it's purely on the basis of the assumptions that if that demon comes out of the cave, then in the kingdom it will be very problematic. It will create a problem in the kingdom. That's why he closed the door. And after that, even if you argue that no, he had intentions and all, what happens is that when he comes to the kingdom, he says that I will not, claim the throne. I am not interested. Let in the name of Wali, we will rule this kingdom. So even in that time, because all our mantris forced him to take the throne, because if there is no king, legitimate king, the kingdom will not work. That's why they force them, ministers force them to take the throne. He says that Natva Padau Aham Tasya Mukute Nasprasham Pabho Apivali Mamakrodhat Na Prasadam Chakaras. He says all these incidents to Rama. He says that when I came back and when I got to know that Wali is not dead, he's living. When he came to kingdom, I myself went and I took my throne and kept in front of his feet and surrendered. And I said that, please don't be, don't bother that I took your kingdom. I am your brother still. You are the legitimate person to hold this kingdom. That's why Tomeva Raja Manarhaha Sadachaham Yathapuram. So it will go as usual. So there is no problem for me. And he says that Raja Bhava Niyogoyam Mamat Twadvirahat Kritaha Samatya Pauraihi Samatya Paura Nagaram Stitam Nihata Kantakam. So he explains that I will be the same old brother carrying out my work as earlier. I held the responsibility of the state in your absence, forced by the citizens and ministers. The kingdom has been kept stable with the enemies destroyed. It is very important. If there is no legitimate king, enemies would come and they will actually take the kingdom from us. That's why I took the throne. So this is where you can examine how the subversion of good and bad, they try to convert a good person with the bad person and the bad person as a good person. Now you can understand that the problem of Sugriva is actually not same as the problem of Rama. Or Rama is not forced to take the part of Wali, take the part of Sugriva, because that he has some problems in his life as same as Sugriva's life. Actually, if Rama is clever or if people think as a cleverance nowadays, if he's practical, he would have taken the support of Vali, because Vali has fought with Ravana from for many years. We hear the story that in the cradle of Angada, Vali used to tie the Ravana as a toy. So he was the mighty powerful man, Vali. If Rama would consider the profit for himself, he would have taken the support of Vali instead of Sugriva. So it proves that Rama actually always upholds the justice rather than making a situation for profit or loss. So this is one thing I wanted to demonstrate. And second one, and we have a lot of theories on this also. Vali is not a, as we say that Sugriva, and she says that Vali never hated Sugriva, but in the Ramayana, it is clearly mentioned that when Vali comes to kingdom, when Sugriva actually submits all these apologies to him, he was furious and he hated Sugriva for taking the throne. However, he explained about his problems. Vali got never satisfied, and he actually exiled Sugriva only with one cloth on his body. Who does like this? Who does to his brother like this? And at the same time, he kept his wife also. This is very bad behavior. If you are very angry with your brother, punish your brother, okay. But what to do with his wife? Why he kept his wife? That shows that he is not in whatever, however she tries to project him as an adequate person. He was not, and there was a mutual understanding between Rama and Ravana and Vali. In Valmiki Ramayana itself, we explore this, that there was a what kind of promise between Ravana and Vali, where Vali says that whatever yours is mine, the kingdom, the kingdom, maybe women, maybe our wives also. So these kind of statements we hear from Vali in the Ramayana. It shows that characteristically also, on the basis of character also, he was not a good person. And if you examine the event also, he was not right. So justice was in the part of Sugriva. That's why he actually supported Rama, supported Sugriva, not with his personal gain. So next, that misleading interpretations. How mistranslation and cherry picking can destroy character legacies. Purva Paksha 2. This is very interesting. So now we will examine one particular moment, incident, the Agni Pravesha incident. So in the Agni Pravesha, Rama is in a dilemma that whether he should accept the Sita or not. So he says that if I accept the Sita without examination, the people will say such thing about me. What they will say? He says, Balisho khalu kamatma Ramo dasharathatmajaha iti vakshanti mam santo janakim avishodhyahi. So he says, the people will surely say that mighty Dasharatha's son, Rama, being lusty at heart, has accepted Janaki without testing. So example this verse. Here author says that, here the key word is Ramo Dasharathatmajaha. So Dasharatha's son is certainly lustful, which implies Rama know all too well what people said about Dasharatha, a lustful man. So she implies that because Rama is saying that Kamatma Ramo Dasharathatmajaha, because he's he's saying his name as Dasharathatmaja while explaining that people would consider him as a lustful. He's indicating that at that time people considered Dasharatha as a lustful man. So this is the claim. Now this happening, subversion is happening as a good and bad. And for that, she actually provides some more pramanas. So Rama's words in the Balakanda, Ayodhya Kanda, where Rama says about his father. He says, Anathascha hi vruddhascha maya chaiva vinakritaha kim karishyami kamatma kaikeyi vashamagataha idam vyasanam rajnyascha mati vibhramam kama eva artha dharmabhyam gariyaniti me matihi kohi avidvanapi puman pramadayaha krite tejet chandanuvatirna putram tato mamiva lakshmana. So he says that Rama says about his father, he is an old man, and with me away, he is so bestowed by Kaikeyi that he is completely in her power and capable of doing anything. The king has lost his mind. I think sex, kama is translated as sex. I think sex is much more potent than either artha or dharma. For what man, and even an idiot like father, would give up a good son like me for the sake of a pretty woman? So, observe the shloka where Rama criticizes his father. So, with this background, she explains that thus Rama invokes the traditional thinking of dharma over sex and politics and accuses his father valuing them in the wrong way or being addicted to sex. So, there are a lot of Purvapakshas here. I will take only this Purvapaksha, subversion of good into bad. But she is saying that invokes the traditional ranking of dharma over sex. So it is traditionally meant that kama is considered as greater than dharma. She is implicating that. Okay, let it be. So now with the words of Rama, now she is saying that Dasharatha is lustful man, addicted to sex. To support this, she also quotes the verse where Lakshmana explains about his father. He says, Viparitascha vruddhascha vishayaischa pradharshitaha nrupaha kimivana bruyat chodyamana samanmatha. The king is persevere, old and addicted to sex, driven by lust. See, after examining all these things, one will be sure that the Dasharatha was a lustful man, because Rama himself is saying, Lakshmana is also saying. So all these things which she is actually claiming, there are proofs for them. So how to analyze this thing? The first argument is that Ramo Dasharathatmaja. So when she is saying that, because Rama says Dasharathatmaja in the context of lust, it means that time people were saying that Dasharatha was a lustful man. So this argument should need to be countered like this. If referring to himself as Dasharati signifies negative qualities in specific context, it is unlikely that he would use the same term to highlight positive qualities. So when Rama is explaining the qualities, good qualities, or someone is explaining good qualities of Rama, they shouldn't have used the word Dasharatha putraha or Dasharatihi. Okay, because if the Dasharatha's character is described like that, then against the positive qualities must not be hold to Dasharatha when it was explaining to Rama. But those kind of verses we find in the Ramayana. So says, Sahi Shuro Mahabahu Putro Dasharathasya cha. Here Rama is being described, Sahi Shuraha Mahabahu. Whose son is? Dasharathasya Putraha. Pura Bhavati no Durat Anugachama Raghavam. Another, Sahi Shuro Mahabahu Putro Dasharathasya cha. Yatha Yatha Dasharatihi Dharme eva Sthito Bhavati. So these are very good qualities about Rama. They are being referred with the context of Dasharatihi, Dasharathasya Putraha. So now we can create a counter argument that it is not there is no necessity that if something is being told with this context should not imply to that person. For Dasharati, if someone is some guna or qualities as being explained as a Dasharati, it doesn't mean that those qualities are there in the Dasharatha also. This is very weird thinking. But what we do with the Rama's words, Rama himself is actually explaining his father's characteristics in a bad way. So how we will defend? Here is a very interesting thing. In the Shastra, if you want to understand the particular text, you have to follow some rules. There are upakrama, upasamhara, abhyasa, apurvata, phala, arthavada, upapatti. These are 7 or 8. These are the backgrounds, parameters, with from which we have to understand the text. Because of lack of this understanding only, we are not interpreting the text correctly. So now let's come to this point. Let's understand when the Rama actually spoke like that about his father. So understanding the context is very crucial here. So this event takes place on the first day in the forest, after Rama instructed Sumantra to leave them. Let us think about the situation. Rama is in the forest. Now Sumantra is not there. Only Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita are there. So now Rama had the guilt that unwantedly I brought this Lakshmana with me, because the only exile was only ordered to me. This Lakshmana is now with me. He is suffering. He will suffer, or I need to avoid this. For that, he says that Rama expressed a desire for Lakshmana to return to Ayodhya. But he knew that if I say that return to Ayodhya, he will not move to Ayodhya. For that, he actually created this scenario where he said, as he believed it was unethical to subject Lakshmana to exile on his behalf, Rama was narrating potential future events that might compel Lakshmana to leave the forest and return to Ayodhya. This is particularly evident when Rama, in a state of deep grief, provoked Lakshmana by speaking these words. So, he is talking ill about his father because he is actually trying to make Lakshmana to go to Ayodhya by provoking him. That, see, Dasharatha is under the control of Kaikeyi, and he can do whatever. He can actually exile the Saumitri also, Sumitra also, or any other person also, your mother also, Kausalya also. For the sake of protection of your mother and my mother, you have to go to the Ayodhya. This was the intention of Rama. To convince that, he actually told something like that. Okay, see, observe this. Manye Dasharathanantaya mama pravrajanaya cha Kaikeyi saumya samprapta rajyaya bharatasya cha api idanim tu Kaikeyi saubhagya mada mohita kausalyam cha sumitram cha samprabadhetam atkrite. She will actually, she can take any decision regarding Kausalya and Sumitra, because now the king is Bharata. So you have to go to the Ayodhya. He is trying to convince him. How you will examine that? How you will conclude that it's only convincing words, not actual words? Here you can explain the answer of Lakshmana. He says, Masma matkarana devi Sumitra dukhamavaset. It's a Rama's word. Ayodhyamita evatvam kalye pravisha Lakshmana. He says like that. But the answer of Lakshmana, nahi tatam na shatrughnam na sumitram paramtapa dashtumichheya madhyaham sargam chapi tvayavina. So the answer, observe the answer. He is not saying that Dasharatha is good or bad, anything. See, understand the intention of Rama. He says that you cannot force me to go to Ayodhya with these reasons, because nahi tatam, I don't want my father. Shatrughna, I am not concerned about Shatrughna also. Not all by Sumitra, my mother, I am not concerned about her also. I want only to live with you, even if I go to the Swarga. So observe this, cherry picking some shlokas to, to make some characterization of the characters of the Ramayana, is what we can observe from these authors from the post-Indological studies. For that, it's very important for us Shastric people to analyze these works and give a counter proofs. The Shastric methodology is observed, explained, Upakramopasamharaha, abhyaso puratha phalam arthavada upachita lingam tatpare nirnaye. So I'll take 2 more cases and I will rest my presentation. So another book, this is one book because in the Shastra we have to explain more examples to it considered as serious. So for that, I took another example. This is the book by Valery Stoker on the Vyasatirtha. Vyasatirtha is a yati, sannyasi, who belongs to the Madhva lineage. And there is one book on him by Valery Stoker, Polemics and Patronage in the City of Victor. So here, very interestingly, as I said, that subversion of good and bad. So Dasharatha was considered traditionally good, but they tried to characterize him as bad. Sugriva was traditionally considered as a good. They tried to portray him as a bad. So this happens, and it extends. And in this particular context, if you can examine that the Brahmins and Lerns and Yatis, all those people are traditionally considered good people. Now, with in her book, she tries to portray them in the negative way, or she tried to subvert the good and bad here. For that, she takes one example where the author says, I think it's in the Telugu, Akshara Pakshapatumunan Arthamun Ulanan Osangan Ubunan Bhikshu Jata Dharilukulu Bhinna Nija Brutulaiduru Yen Durbhiksha Ruja Shushuchatulu Pekkagun Bhaktiya Chalu. So this goes like, I'm not well versed in Telugu, but this is what the translations. So there is one book by author, and she uses the translation of this Telugu verse. In the translation, they say, if you are partial to learning and give lands and money away to the learned. So now she is actually saying that king should not be partial with learned members. If kings does like that, it will be problematic. What happens? No, she is not saying. She is saying that this Kavi is saying, if you are partial to learning and give lands and money away to the learned, mendicants, monks, and men with matted hair will become swollen-headed. Feminines, sickness, and infant deaths will increase. Just show devotion to learned. And if they resent their poverty, don't be concerned. So this is actually a upadesha to king from this Kavi. With this context, he says that the Krishnadevaraya was very careful about his leanings towards the Brahmins and the learned people. So here the basic problem is that here the important word is bhinna nija vratulaiduru is the very important word, where the translator has mistreated that word. This is the essence actually, because the Dharmaraja in his work, he says dharmam pada chatushtayena vilasa. He says that I will rule this kingdom with the background of dharmartha kama moksha or varnashrama dharma. So how can a person who claims that he is actually governing the state with the chaturvarna dharma, he claims. So how can he take this kind of Budesha? This is, we have to examine here how they mistranslate or misrepresent the verse. Bhinna nija vartulaiduru is very important. So what actually Kavi is saying, see, you cannot donate a lot of money to monks or any learned members, because the basic ashrama dharma or the duty of yati or any learned Brahmin is to take support from the society, bhiksha vritti. That's very important. This is the ashrama dharma of a monk or yati or Brahmana. So if you throw lot of money, or if you give them lot of lands and money, what happens is they will feel that now there is no need to do bhiksha vritti. So this, what happens when the ashrama dharma is not followed in the society, then famines, sickness, infant death will increase. This is what he is trying to portray, or trying to give upadesha to the king. Not that if you give some money to learn Brahmins, they will become solemn-headed. No, that's not the case here. But the authors with the Marxist lens want to portray that these people sitting in the agrahars, earning money from the kings, and they were doing their duties and oppressing the other communities. But actually, here he's saying their duty is to try to get support from the society and try to live with the support of society, not with the support of the king. This is not the ashrama dharma. So if king does that, he is actually indirectly supporting the decreasement of the ashrama dharma. That's why the Kavi is saying. But as you can explain from the Marxist views, this is how they translate. And another thing, last one, how these Marxist people, or with the Marxist lens, try to translate the text, we can observe. So in another incident, Catherine Morrison's analysis, which says that, she quotes, emphasis on irrigation privileged elite pattern of food consumption in a way that disadvantage others, notably dry crop farmers. So this is the argument that at that time kings were very much partial towards the privileged elite members of the society, and because of that, this actually disadvantaged the other category of farmers, which are dry crop farmers. And this is the claim. To support this claim, she quotes one incident from the Vyasa Yogi Charita. This is the biography of Vyasatirtha, on which she has written the book. So there is one incident where Vyasatirtha was traveling. Vyasatirtha is wandering in the forest, and some forest residents are about to attack him. Observe the words, forest residents, about to attack him. But they are so beguiled by his holy nature, and that they become his servants, bringing him branches, wood, leaf, and other useful materials for his survival and comfort. So here, with this underlining word, some forest residents, she says that there are a lot of tension was going between the elite and dry crop farmers. But the kings were almost partial with the what we say in the Marxist lens, what we say as the oligarchs, or the people with the privileged background. So this is how she claims. But when you observe the original text and original translation, how they mistreat the text is very good example to observe here. The original translation is by Venko Brau. He translated it in English, where he translates, by him requested in the past, in his period of pilgrimage, did ferocious robbers in the forest attacked by his personality. See, observe, some forest residents and ferocious robbers. There are two translations, and the problem is or the author is quoting from the source only to avoid only actually she has translated the translation itself. That's the problem. And this, if she takes this ferocious robbers, it will not help her to propagate her own analysis of king being partial to the landlords. But we have to observe, we have to keenly observe all these aspects and revolt back, or as I say, we have to make a Siddhanta, because our ancestors never feared of Purvapaksha. This is very important. Nowadays, we are becoming very fearful of Purvapaksha. Our ancestors were enjoying the Purvapaksha. They were, enjoying the Purvapaksha as that they were thinking that, oh, if some, Purvapaksha with lot of credibility comes, we will have an opportunity to look into our text so much deeply. So that was privilege for them to look into Purvapaksha and doing the Siddhanta. So with these examples, I will conclude my chapter or the presentation. And the conclusion is from my side. I hope this will bring awareness among readers to not to take any work on the face value, just because it is published by some reputed publication house or written by some degree position decorated authors. Thank you. Thank you, Indica, for arranging such a commendable and Indica itself is a commendable platform. I am following the Indica from many years. Thank you for painstakingly arranging this kind of lecturer, and special thanks to Dr. Nagaraj Paturi Garu for encouraging us young scholars to go in this way. And thanks, Team Indica. Dhanyawad.
Thank you, Acharya. Traditional scholars coming into this kind of platform is a new development. We are very, very excited and glad about this development, that you are actually reading. At least the earlier generation of traditional scholars, they were not even caring to read this material. That started emboldening the Indologists. They started arguing that because they are not countering us, we are right.
Yes.
See, they fault
They
in
claim
that
the authority
argument
on our
is
scriptures now.
whether the traditional scholar actually read you. They not reading you does not prove you right.
Yes. Yes.
See, it almost, it's a misleading argument. They are arguing as though the traditional scholar read them and is not countering. Fact is, the traditional scholar did not care to read them.
Oh, yes.
So they did not counter.
Yes.
So they not countering is not proving you right. Correct?
Yes, yes.
So at least now some good thing is happening. Scholars like you, Jamalamadaka brothers, and all these new generation of traditional scholars, you are ambidextrous. You are strong on both sides. You are strong in your Shastra, and you are also strong in reading the material that the Indologists are providing, and you are able to show the original sources correctly to the audience. Fortunately, our audience are receptive. There is another kind of audience who are already oriented towards that kind of reading, Indological reading. So they will never be convinced, whatever kind of evidences you bring, whatever kind of correct arguments you bring. So at least for those who are open to learn the correct understanding, correct perspective, this kind of development that such young scholars are coming up, I request you to create more like you. The more Shastra scholars who read this material and counter have to come. I will check if there is any question. I don't see more questions here. So now, thank you very much, Acharya, again.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind